Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Bhutang Saranang Gacchami. Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Bhutang Saranang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Tatyampi Bhutang Saranang Gacchami. Tatyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. Tatyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Panatipata Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. Adinadana Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. Kame Sumichachara Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. Musavada Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. Suramerya Maja Pamadatana Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to abstain from killing. I undertake the precept to abstain from taking what is not given. I undertake the precept to abstain from sexual misconduct. I undertake the precept to abstain from false and malicious speech. I undertake the precept to abstain from intoxicants, which induce heedlessness. Karaniyang atta kusalena yantang santang padang abhisamecha sakku ujucha sujucha suvachocha samuru anantimani santu sakocha subarocha Appakichocha sallahuka buddhi Santindriyocha nipakocha Appagabukulesu ananugido Nachakudam samachare kinchiyena vinyupare upavadeyum Sukino va kemino hontu. Sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitata. Ye chipana bhutati. Tasavata varava anavasisa. Digavaye mahantava. Majjimarasakanukathula. Dittavayeva aditta. Ye dure vasanti avidure. Bhutava sambhave siva. Sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitata. Naparo paranikubeta. Nyati manyeta kata chinam kanchi. Pyaro sanapatiga sanya. Jnana manyasa dukkamicheya. Mata yataniyam puttang. Ayusa eka puttang anurakki. Evam pisabhabutesu. Manasang bhavaye aparimanang. Mettam cha sabbalokasmin. Manasang bhavaye aparimanang. Uttang adochatiriyansha. Asampadang averang asapatang. Titang charang nisinova. Sayanova yavatasa vigantamido. Etang satim aditeya. Brahmang etang viharang idamahu. Dittin cha anupagamma silava. Dasanena sampanno. Tame suvineya gedam. Nahi jatu gabaseyang. Punyaiti. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will. Whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Let us continue our practice now with the chanting. In that chanting, we feel some beautiful qualities with our hearts. The chanting speaks about beautiful qualities, beautiful heart qualities. and let the heart clear the mind, makes the mind clear. By not to being attached to any thinking, let the heart make the mind clear and wide by not to being attached to any beliefs, any logical thinking, or any judgments. We know what we believe, and we know what we do not believe.
I'm sorry, Upul, I muted you.
We know what we like and what we do not like. We try to, we are trying to realize this, that whatever we believe might be wrong, might be right. And whatever we do not believe is also could be right, could be wrong. Things do not become right just because we believe it. And things do not become wrong just because we do not believe them. We are trying to understand this. Also, nothing becomes right and true just because we like it. And anything does not become wrong or fails just because we do not like it. We are trying to understand this nature, this phenomena. feel the freedom with this wisdom, with this understanding, how free we are. By feeling and by experiencing the beauty of openness and the beauty of clarity, let us open eyes now, slowly and consciously. Thanks for thanks for your interest and effort in the practice, dear friends. Now, over to you, dear Paul.
So, good afternoon, friends, and good afternoon, Upul in Sri Lanka. I'm happy to moderate or to facilitate the discussion again. So most of you know how it works. I see that the connection is not very good. Hopefully you can still see me and hear me. Okay, thank you. So very briefly, I will explain again how this works. If you would like to raise a question on the topic of white and clear or any other spiritual topic, you can, or if you want to share something, you can click on the icon of the chat box on the bottom of your screen, and you can write your question and send it to me. My name is Paul van Hooijdonk, and then I will direct your question to Upul. Or otherwise, you can simply raise your hand like this, or you can click on the icon of reactions at the bottom of your screen, and you can click on the icon of applause, and then I know that you want to ask a question, and then you can ask your question in person. So I see that the connection is not very good. I hope this will work out today. So I see that there is no question in the chat box yet. Yes, there is one from Christian. Christian asks, can you repeat the 5 topics of how to gain clarity? Upul, can you repeat the 5 topics of how to gain clarity?
Thanks, dear Paul, and thanks, dear Christian. Well, 5 topics. Well, to make the mind clear or make ourselves clear, we had to let go of certain things. The first thing is, if we are emotional, then we are not clear, or the mind is not clear if the mind is emotional. Therefore, we had to detach from our emotions, or we had to make our mind free from emotions. And also, if the mind is confused because of whatsoever, then that mind is not clear. We cannot see anything clearly, or we cannot understand anything clearly with the confused mind. So we had to detached from that confusion, and we had to do something to make the mind free from that confusion. And also, if the mind is dwelling either in the past or in the future, especially with the regression and with the dreaming state, that type of mind is also not clear, no clarity at all. If the mind is dwelling in the past with regression, and if the mind is dwelling in the future in a fantasy. Remembering the past is okay. Also, making a plan for the future is all right. But dwelling in the past with the regression or guilty conflict, and dwelling in the future with fantasies are making us more and more confused, more and more unclear. Therefore, being in the present is important. And the next thing is, sometimes the mind is not emotional, the mind is not dwelling in the past or future, and the mind is not confused. But the mind is sleepy, drowsy, lazy. So if the mind is lazy, sleepy, and drowsy, then that type of mind is not clear, no clarity. Even though that mind is in the present, even though that mind is not emotional, even though that mind is not confused. So we had to make ourselves alert and awake. The last thing is we should not come to any quick judgments or conclusions about whatsoever. Better to take some time to do our own research, or to do our own observation, or to do our own reflection and investigation. There is no hurry to come to any quick decisions or judgments or conclusions. So these 5 things are equally important to maintain the inner clarity. So inner clarity is one thing, and the wide or openness is another thing. And I'm a bit confused now. What question you really want to know, that about the clarity of the mind, or about the openness or the wide?
So Christian, is it about the white, how do you say that, the white quality of the mind, or the clarity that your question is? You can you can click on the microphone icon left on the left side at the bottom of your screen. Yeah.
Yes. There was in the Dhamma talk the one sutta where the scholar was asking the Buddha and gave him 3 examples of how he could know how if he's right or wrong, if it's clear or not clear.
Mm.
The Buddha gave him an answer with 5 things, and I found those 5 things very important, as Upu repeated them also in the Dhamma talk and in the meditation too. That's what I meant, because these 5 things he said to the scholar. Understand it?
Yes,
Upu,
thanks.
is the question clear?
Thanks. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how the quality of wide, not to be narrow, not to make ourselves narrow down, to make openness, for the openness. The first thing is faith, what we believe. We can believe things. It doesn't matter. The Buddha is not challenging, or not. The Buddha is not asking us to not to believe anything. We can maintain our beliefs, our belief systems. And if we say, I believe this, that's okay. I am saying the truth. If I am honest, then I can, whatever I say is okay. I believe this, or I don't believe that. By saying this, by thinking in this way, we protect the truth. But if I say, I believe this is the only truth, whatever I don't believe could be wrong and fails and mistake. If I say this, then I go beyond what I understand. So then I am not protecting the truth. This is the first thing. The Buddha said, whatever we believe strongly could be right, could be wrong. Things do not become right just because we believe. Or things do not become wrong just because we do not believe. And the second thing, what we like and what we don't like. So again, we can say, I like this. I like the concept of rebirth. And nobody can argue with me. What I am saying is, I like the concept of rebirth. I am not saying the rebirth is the truth. If somebody says there is no rebirth, that is wrong. That's beyond my understanding. And I am not protecting the truth if I say like that. But still I can say, I like the concept or the theory of rebirth. By saying this, I am protecting the truth. And the third thing is the tradition. Our tradition. Everybody has own traditions. It is called unbroken tradition. It comes from generations after generation. And yeah, we can say this is our tradition. And that is not our tradition. We can say. And nobody can argue, nobody can challenge to it if I am honest. And but if I say this is my tradition and this is the only tradition should be, whatever else is completely wrong, then again I am saying something which I did not understand, which I did not realize, and I am broken. I am breaking the truth. I am not protecting the truth. The fourth one is our ideology or our logical thinking. This is my logic. This is my logical thinking. My logical thinking says there is self or there is no self. Whatever, there is a God or there are no gods, whatever. And it's okay. This is my logic. This is my ideology. And but if anyone says this is the only truth, but what else is completely wrong, then again, not protecting the truth. And the fifth one is our views. Views and doctrines. According to our views, there is whatever we can say according to my point of view is like this. My point of view is samsara is there, life after life is there. According to my point of view, there is no nothing after life, whatever. And it's okay. But if I say this is the only truth, whatever others say are wrong, then I am not protecting the truth. So these are the 5 things: the faith or conviction and light. The next one is unbroken tradition. Fourth one is logical thinking or ideology. And the fifth one is our point of views or doctrines.
So Christian, is it helpful that I repeat Upul's answer, or are things clear for you?
It's not necessary. If the others want to repeat it, it's okay for me. But for me, it's clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Upul, for the answer. There are several questions in the chat box. So Christian also asks, where can I find a recording of the Dhamma talk session? And Claudia answers, we will soon upload it to the YouTube channel Voice of Nilambe. Kema asks, can you tell us the name of the sutta, please? And Claudia mentions Chanki Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 95. Claudia, am I correct?
I think so.
Okay, I check it with Upul. Is that correct, Upul?
Well, yeah, if a German says it's true.
Okay. Yeah, and that is also confirmed by Christian, Majjhima Nikaya 95, and that's also what Venerable Dhammadipa says. And if I'm correct, those are 3 Germans, so it must be absolutely true. Then a question of Angelica Redding. To me, it is very hard to keep my mind wide when I need it most. Like when I'm in physical pain or going through emotional tough times. Then I don't have good access to these good qualities, especially when I am suffering. My mind gets very narrow. What can we do then? So Upul, when Angelica goes through suffering, or when it is when she is in physical pain or going through emotional tough times, it is difficult to keep the mind wide and her mind gets very narrow. Do you have any suggestions?
Thanks, Paul, and thanks, dear Angelica, for your observation. It's really important what you have said, because generally people say, oh, we can't or we can. But when we can and when we cannot, to clarify this is important. No one can do anything forever, and no one cannot say, I can't do anything at all. Sometimes we can, sometimes we cannot. So we better to know when we can and when we cannot. This is the very first understanding and the first step, and it's very important, and I'm really impressed about your observation. The second thing, sometimes, yes, we are going through some physical pain or physical discomfort, and sometimes we are experiencing some emotions, or we are experiencing emotional consciousness or mentality. Only sometimes, not always. Not always. That means other times we can make ourselves or our mind wide and clear. We can start from that. We better to start from where we can. We cannot start from where we are unable. So we better to start from where we can. And when there is no pain and no emotion, then we can make ourselves wide, not narrow, and we can make our mind clear. And whenever emotions occur in our mind, whenever pain comes, we know it. We cannot maintain that the quality of wide and the clarity of the mind. We know it. So we can accept. We can accept that our limitation, our border, without fighting. Only narrow minds are fighting, because narrow mind cannot accept anything else. But with our practice, now we know sometimes we are unable, sometimes we can, sometimes we cannot. So when we are unable, we can accept. By accepting, we experience the quality of wide and the beauty of clarity, somehow, up to certain degrees. This is the second thing. And third thing, we better to speak to somebody. If we are going into physical pain or emotions deeply, or sinking if we are sinking into the physical pain or psychological emotions, and if we cannot come out by ourselves, then the very best thing is to speak to somebody, a wise one and kind and wise person who can help us to come out, who can give hand to us to come out. This is the third thing. And the fourth thing, with someone else's help or without someone else's help, anyhow, those things are not permanent. I mean, physical pain or emotions are not staying with us forever. So whether we do something or not, they come, they stay with us, and then they go away. So after they left, again we can regain the quality and the clarity of the mind. And the very first thing is, after regaining this clarity of the mind and openness, what we have to do is, the very first thing is to reflect what happened. During that time, what happened? This is important, to going back, to trace. And then we can see some subtle things which we did not see during that period. We can, later we can notice them. And by noticing them, we can understand them, and that understanding will help us definitely for the next time. Whenever we will experience physical pain or emotions, then we are not same person. We are a bit different now. A little bit we are wide, little bit clarity is there. We can face to them in a different way, a bit good way. So this is the way we can improve ourselves. So there are 4 suggestions or 4 instructions to work with them.
So, Angelica, is that a clear answer?
Thank you very much. Yes, I think yes, because I just thought how easily we get into this vicious circle when we demand too much clarity and wide mind. And it helps me very much to hear that you do when you're able to do it. Yes, thank you.
There's also a second question of you in the chat box. Do you want to ask it live or shall I read it? If you want, you can ask it now.
Maybe it's just a misunderstanding. Oh, sorry. Maybe it's just a misunderstanding when Upul talked about qualities of a teacher, and maybe I don't know if I understood it right, and also of the qualities of a friend, that it's wise to look after friends who are not suffering. And I'm not sure if I got this right, because then I thought, oh, who would that be? Where is that friend that is not suffering? Maybe you can clarify this.
Okay, so maybe I read your question. I don't know if I understood it right. Did you say, Upul, that we should look for teachers and friends who are not suffering?
Well, yes, I said it. That means actually a friend means a spiritual guide. If we are taking somebody, if you are using somebody as a guide, as a teacher, who is giving live examples for our spiritual journey, then yeah, we had to see, is that person qualified enough to guide us to overcome our suffering? This is very important. If that person is still suffering and suffering and suffering, then of course we can help that person to overcome suffering up to our extent, up to our limit, but we should not keep that person, or we should not place that person as a teacher, as our spiritual guide to follow. But I mean, friends mean, of course, we need friends and they need us. It's a usual thing. But if you use somebody as a spiritual friend who is guiding us, who is showing us the path, that friend or that person should be not suffer as us.
I hear add. Okay, everything clear. So then I would like to give the word to Kema, because she asks a question that I don't fully understand. She writes, and the key quotation, Kayena Parasatcha. Can you maybe explain this a little, Kema?
Hi, yeah, it was a quotation that Upal gave during his talk. He gave a quotation. I think it must be from the Chanki Sutta, about the body experiencing ease when you're on the right path. Something like Kayena Paranasatcha, and then I didn't catch the last part. Could you please repeat it, Upal?
You said about the body, what?
Experiencing comfort or ease in the
Okay,
practice.
okay. We're listening to you, Upal.
Well, I think according to my memory, that is the last part of that sutta. I didn't read it recently, maybe many years ago, but I think it is the last, it is in the last paragraph, or one of the last sentences of the last paragraph of that sutta, Chanki Sutta. Kayena cheva paramasacchang sachikaranti. Literal meaning is even you are experiencing or witnessing the ultimate truth physically. That means some physical changes should happen because of this realization. So that's the meaning of that Pali term, Pali word, Pali sentence.
Is that clear, Kema?
Yes, thank you. I should go and read it again. Thank you.
But commentaries give different meanings to this sentence. The commentaries, later commentaries and sub-commentaries say not physically. The bone. Kaya means, usually kaya means the body, but commentary says it is for the mind. Another word for the mind. You are experiencing the ultimate truth with the mind or by the mind. That is the commentary's definition or interpretation for this sentence.
Thank you. We'll have to find out from our own experience.
I see there is no new question in the chat box so far. So Maybe somebody would like to raise a question live. Please raise your hand. Christian, please go ahead.
Yes, my question is according to the question of Angelica. You know, when we are, I don't know who was the questioner, when we are facing very strong mental pain or very strong physical pain, or some mental or physical distortions will drown us. Yeah, so we can't be clear and white anymore. Is there any, what call it, emergency techniques to get out of this? Because if that is happening, for example, in daily life, that a rush of anger or aggressivity is almost to take me that much that I can't escape from it, you understand? So are there any tricks or emergency things which we can use that it will not be actuality, full actuality, you know, that we can dim it down?
Is it possible for you, Christian, to put your question very clearly in a short sentence, because it's not completely clear for me?
When you got a strong pain, for example, during the meditation or during the day, and you know that it becomes so strong that it drowns you, it takes you away. Is there some emergency exit in the Buddhist teaching for this? Because if it's too late, it's too late.
Okay.
And you know what I mean? Sometimes.
That's clear. That's clear. Thank you. So, Upu, if there is a very strong pain that overwhelms us, physical or mental, how to deal with that?
Well, yeah, the best and practical help is actually to call to a friend, spiritual friend. So that is the best thing if we are unable to deal with it by ourselves, or if they are very strong, those physical pain or psychological pain is so strong and too much for us, and if we feel we are weak, then the very best thing is to get some support from a spiritual friend. And but we know it is not always possible. Therefore, we have to keep some first aid items in our pocket. Or we had to maintain a first aid box. First thing is, as I said earlier, we better to accept it. This is very important, rather than resisting and fighting and struggling and saying, no, this should not happen. Why it happened, or why I have always these bad things. No, instead of criticizing and judging, we better to accept, yes, the body is weak now. The mind is emotional now. And I cannot tolerate it. So we better to accept things. Accept the mind just as it is, accept the body just as it is, and accept our limits just as they are. This is important. By accepting, we can be peaceful at least a bit. And the next thing is, we can do something else. Maybe we can practice some metta meditation. Instead of observing and analyzing those emotions and physical pain and trying to understand the nature of them. Instead of that, we can simply practice metta. We can speak to our body and say, dear body, I know you are suffering a lot now, and I want to help you. I am your best friend. I am looking a way to make yourself free from this suffering. So please let me help you. Something like that. We can pass this message that the body is not suffering alone. We are there to help to the body. And that's really, it's like a mantra. It works very well. It cannot cure the entire pain, but at least we can energize, we can empower the body by offering our true friendliness to the body. And also we can speak to the mind and say, oh, you are poor mind, now you are emotions are controlling you. As you said, anger is controlling you. I know, but I'll help you. I am not giving up you. I am being with you. I am helping you. Just let me know what the anger tells to you, or what the anger wants to do with you. Just inform me, just report me. And now it's like a triangle. Anger is in one corner, the mind is in the second corner, and we are staying at the third corner, like a triangle. The anger is not speaking to us directly. The anger is speaking to the mind, and the mind is reporting us. The anger said this. The anger is saying that. And we are not speaking to the mind, to the emotion directly. We are answering to the mind. Oh, really? But you don't have to do it, dear mind. Even though whatever the anger says, you don't have to do it. I am helping you to not to do it. We can do some kind of conversation with the mind and indirectly with emotions. Directly we cannot, because they are, as you said, in that time, they are so powerful, so strong. Therefore, through the mind. So emotions are speaking to the mind is reporting us, and we are responding to the mind like that. So it takes some time now. We can take some time. And the important thing is, with the time, emotions are becoming powerless. The emotions are so powerful only for a couple of seconds. And they cannot maintain, they cannot keep that power for longer period of time. That is not possible. Unless if we are feeding to it, if we are empowering. If we are not empowering and not feeding, then emotions come up and goes down. So we can take time just by playing this game. It's a game. The mind is in the middle, emotions are the other side, we are this side. It's like a game. Or we can do something else. We can do something physical if mind is emotional. We can do walking meditation, or we can do some gardening with our hands, fingers. That's important. But if the body is in pain, suffering, then we better to do something psychological, not physical. We can do some chanting. Even we can sing mindfully, we can sing a pleasant song or pleasant poem. We can look at the nature. It depends on where we are and what is available and what is the time, location, everything. But the very important thing is we should not lose our awareness or consciousness. If our consciousness is there, if our awareness is there, then we can create a technique to work with it. Or we can find a way, we can find a door to come out from this prison or come out from this tangle. But if we are not aware, if we lose the awareness in the very beginning, then no exist, no exit. Whatever we do, we are tangling again and again. Therefore, because of whatever reasons, we should not lose our awareness.
So, Christian, your question was, what do we do when we are overwhelmed by pain, physical or mental? Upul said, call a friend, that is the best. If that is not possible, if we are unable to deal with the pain ourselves, that is the best thing to do, to call a spiritual friend. But if that is not possible, we have to use our first aid box. The first thing is acceptance of the pain, acceptance of the mind, acceptance of the body, acceptance of our limits. And that creates a little peace, that makes us a little bit peaceful. And then we can also practice metta. We can speak with the body or we can speak with the mind. We can say, I am your best friend. And we can repeat that as a mantra. We can offer our true friendliness. We can have a conversation with the mind. And when we do that, the emotions become powerless slowly. We can do something physical also when the mind is emotional. And the most important thing is don't lose your awareness. When we keep our awareness or consciousness, we can find a way to deal with the pain. Is this a clear answer? Anything else you would like to say?
Yes, it's a very clear answer. Thank you very much. And as far as I see, it's maybe the best is to do the practice continuously, like we talked about today, about wideness and clarity of consciousness, which will be the best first aid box which we can create. That's my conclusion. Thank you.
Okay, 2 questions in the chat box. A question from Mar. I see that video connection is not good. I hope you can still hear me. Going back to the qualities of a teacher, that means that a teacher who is helping us has to be enlightened. Thank you. So, Upul, does a teacher that helps us has to be enlightened?
Yes. That's the best of the best, to find a teacher who is enlightened, who don't have any personal issues, who do not have or who does not have any personal blames, self-blames or self-issues, completely free from all kinds of personal issues. Only then he or she can offer herself or himself for others. And also they have full wisdom. Therefore, if possible, we better to try to find a person, a teacher or friend who is who don't have any personal issues, any personal disorders. If not, if we are unable, then we can, of course, still we have a chance, so we have chances, less personal issues, less personal problems, less suffering, who minimized own suffering. I think even though we are unable to find an enlightened person, maybe it's possible, maybe not, but we can find those friends or teachers who are not suffering as us, less suffering, less than us. So we better to follow a person who is not suffering as us. It's
Okay,
very clear.
Please. Thank
Yes,
you.
Paul.
That's a very clear answer. So, Mar, maybe I will briefly summarize this. The best of the best is to find somebody who has no personal issues, who is free from personal issues. Only he or she can offer the best help, and such a person has full wisdom. If we don't find such a person, try to find somebody with less personal problems or suffering than yourself, with minimal suffering, less suffering than you. So, Mar, is that clear?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mar. I go to the chat box. No new question. Okay, so maybe we still have time. So maybe somebody would like to raise a question live. Yes, Gitte, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm just curious if the opposite of white and clear.
Can you speak a little louder, Gitte? Maybe a little closer to the microphone.
Yeah, I'm just curious, what makes us tick? I mean, why do we choose the unclear and the narrow instead of the white and clear? Unless we are mindful. How come? Is that the nature of human beings, or is it out of fear, or it's just a mystery somehow?
I'm afraid I didn't understand, but maybe Upul did.
Well, unfortunately, I think yes. Anyhow, yeah, there is a mystery. There are a lot of mysteries. Maybe they are our born nature, not our nature, but born nature. Or maybe they are our defaults. But the best word is unskillful way of thinking. Narrow, being narrow, and unclarity are coming out of our unwise thinking, unskillful thinking. Whatever we are experiencing, or whomever we are, out of our thinking. Thinking makes us. We make thinking, and thinking makes us. It is as a circle, vicious circle. It goes again and again and again, over and over and over. We are the thinkers. We are the thinker. We think. Whatever we want, we think. And then thinking creates us. And then again, we think something, and that something creates us. It goes like that. And if we want to change the circle, we have to change our thinking. There is no other way. We have to change the thinking. To change the thinking, we have to understand how we think. By observing, we can understand how we think now. Right now, how we think. To be narrow, actually, we don't have to make any effort to be narrow or to make ourselves unclear. It happens effortlessly. They don't need any effort. That's why it is called unskillful things. But to make ourselves wide and clear, it needs, or they need, effort. We have to make effort. Without effort, we can't be wide, and we can't make ourselves clear or clarity. Like being sick. We are not making any effort to be sick. It happens. But to cure ourselves, we have to be skillful. We have to make a lot of effort to heal ourselves. So likewise, if we are unskillful, then the result is being narrow and being confused, unclear. To make ourselves clear, we have to make the right effort. And to be wide, we have to make again effort. Therefore, they are skills.
So, Gita, it is our unskillful way of thinking that makes us narrow and unclear or confused. We create our thinking, and the thinking makes us. It is a vicious circle. To break this circle, we have to change the thinking. To make the mind wide and clear, we have to apply effort. It is like being sick. To cure ourselves, we have to make an effort. We have to heal ourselves. Is there anything you would like to add, Gita, or you would like to say to that?
No, it's very clear. Thank you.
Thank you. So I see if there is somebody else who would, yeah, Claudia. Please, Claudia.
Well, it's maybe, yeah, maybe more a sharing, or yeah, I think there's as well some kind of question in it still. Yeah, just my experience of living in a Mahayana monastery, and this topic was very helpful at the moment, the sutta and as well Buddha's explanations, because yeah, it's the traditions here. Yeah, we have to just accept each other, and I've over the time now living here 1 year, I can see that the concepts of the Mahayana tradition and the Theravada tradition are quite different, and I can see how my mind was sometimes taking sides or judging or as well being confused or questioning again or doubting. And yeah, I think the sutta is really very helpful in such a situation. In a way, we are in our life, of course, confronted in many other life situations as well with this problem that we have our view or our own experience, and others have a completely different view. And I feel for myself, I don't want to judge others, or I don't want to think, my tradition is the better one, or but still, in the end, I have to make a decision which way do I follow. So yeah, the sutta gives help by just referring to what do I feel or what do I believe, because well, in the end, only I can trust to some degree my own intuition, even if I choose a teacher or a tradition. In the end, it's my own intuition who chose it. But yeah, but still it can be wrong. So I guess what I understand then is we have, as well, what I remember what the Buddha said is we have to then try to experience it by ourselves. That's the path of meditation, to explore it and to find out for ourselves. Only if we see the truth clearly for ourselves, then in a way, it's not a faith or a belief anymore, but a true knowledge or insight or wisdom. So so I think that's for the situation which I am, the approach that I for myself have to make a choice which path or which concept first of all I trust, and because behind that is a set of methods how to train, and I don't know which sources to refer to and things like that. because I can't do everything. I can't explore the whole Pali Canon and as well additionally try to read all the Mahayana Suttas. So I guess we have to make a choice. And then, yeah, just follow that path and hopefully find our own, have a insight by ourselves. So I'd like just to ask Upul if he could follow this approach, and if he approves it, or if he has some more recommendations in this respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Very clear questions. So, Upul, Claudia is staying in a Mahayana monastery. They use different concepts there. She notices that her mind judges the sutta of today was very helpful. She says, I have to find out for myself. I have to make a choice which concepts I trust, which methods behind those concepts I will follow. Because I can't do everything. I have to make a choice. Is this the right approach? That's basically her question.
Well, we cannot find 100% equal to traditions or to religions or even to people, to teachers, even in the same tradition, in the same religion. So the diversity is one of the unique qualities of the nature, diversity. Things are different. And it happens even during the Buddha's time. All the enlightened monks are not always same. Their teachings are different. Even though they are enlightened, the enlightenment is equal, but teachings could be different. So we better to understand this. Therefore, we cannot say this tradition is greater than that tradition, or this tradition is more right than the other traditions. We cannot say. But what we can say is what is more effective for ourselves, what is more practical for myself. We can speak about it. We can see. We can say, or we can do some kind of experiment after living in Theravada monasteries and Mahayana monasteries and Tibetan monasteries, and then we can say what is more practical for myself. Actually, we don't have to think about it. When we start to think about it, then we become confused. We better to make the decision. We allow our heart to make the decision. When things are clear, then the decision comes from that stillness, from that clarity, not from the brain and not from our intellectual thinking. So, dear Claudia, let the heart make the decision, which tradition or which order that you have to follow. And my advice is, the next advice is, the second opinion is, whatever tradition, the practice is same. The practice is same. We have to let go of these three elements: greediness, hatred, and the delusion. It is not depending on which tradition we are. I think no tradition says that we have to keep greediness. We had to keep the greediness, or we had to keep the hatred, or we had to keep the delusion. No tradition can say this. Each tradition says We had to let go of the greediness, let go of the hatred, and let go of the delusion. How to let go? It is depending on the tradition. How to let go? What we had to do to let go? The procedure of letting go, the mechanism can be different. But the central teaching is same. Therefore, whenever the greediness arises in our mind, we can notice and we can make some effort in letting go. And whenever the hatred arises in the mind, fortunately, they all arises in our mind, not in anywhere. Therefore, we have a great chance, higher chance to notice them. And without any condition, we can make some effort to let go of it. And then whenever we realize that we are deluded, then we better to make some effort to be more aware, more alert, and more conscious. This is very clear. This is not depending on the order or the tradition or the religion.
Thank you very much, Upul. What a beautiful answer. So, Claudia, I wrote down, we cannot find two equal traditions or two equal teachers. Diversity is the nature. Enlightenment is equal, but teachings are different. The question that we have to ask is, which is most effective for myself? And we don't even have to think about this question. We can allow our heart to make the decision. So Upul gives two tips. The first is, let the heart make the choice. Which tradition to choose. And the second tip is, whatever the tradition, the practice is the same. It is the letting go of greed, hatred, and delusion. That is the central aim. The procedure is different. The how depends on the tradition, but the central teaching is the same. So, Claudia, do you have anything to add to that?
No, thank you very much.
Thank you. So I see there is no other question in the chat box. I don't see Christian has maybe the last question of today. Please, Christian.
It's not a question, it's just a sharing. During the session today, there was my mindfulness and my focus falling on the word effort. And everything which we discussed or which was talked about is combined with effort. And that leads me to the path or the segment of the Noble Eightfold Path. Right effort has to be in all the things to make our consciousness wide and clear, wide and clear, clarity. I don't know in English. Clarity and wideness in our mind. Is that correct, Upul?
Absolutely correct, dear Christian.
Thank you.
Maybe one last question from myself, Upul, if you don't mind. You answered Claudia and you said we can allow our heart to make the decision. But maybe our heart can also recognize the truth in what different teachers or different traditions say. So maybe our heart is open to not one specific school of thinking or one specific approach or one specific technique or one specific teacher. Maybe we can be inspired and be uplifted by different teachers and traditions. And maybe that is what the heart says. What do you think?
Well, in the beginning, the heart opens for one tradition or for one teacher, to the one teacher or one system. Maybe we don't know anything about the path or anything about religion, but we are inspired by maybe a teacher or person or a book or whatever. And the heart wants to follow that person or that tradition. So this is the way how we start our practice. And later, of course, later, those people, traditions, and schools are actually becoming secondary things. The first thing is the path. The path takes the first place later. Everything else can be second, third, and fourth. It's a choice by the heart. The path is the priority. The practice is the priority. Even though there are no traditions, no teachers, even though nobody is practicing, but for us, the practice is the most important thing. The heart gives priority for the practice and for the path. When we come to this point, then of course, we are, only then we can say we are free. We are open for all kinds of traditions, teachings, teachers. All are, whatever they say, we can use to enlighten the path to the journey. To come to this point, maybe be better to stay with one tradition or one school.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I would like to conclude, before I give the word to Upul, to come to a final conclusion of this meditation day. I would like to mention that those of us who would like to make a financial contribution, who would like to give dana, can do so. On the announcement, the invitation mail, in that mail you can find the German bank account of Claudia, if you would like to make a donation to for Upul and for Nilambe, you can do so. And also, Upul, if it's okay with you, I would like to discuss very briefly, a few minutes after this meditation day, the online retreat in Germany and Belgium in May, if that's okay. So now I give the word to Upul.
Thanks, my dear Paul. Yes, and thank you very much for moderating the discussion again today, to make the discussion powerful and clear and wide. And thank you very much, dear friends, for participating to today's retreat. We are like a family. We are becoming a family, a global family. And time to time, we meet and we discuss, we walk together, and we again separate for a while, and again meeting, again separating. So what a beauty, what a beautiful thing. Thank you very much for being in this spiritual family. And dear Ma and dear Claudia, you have done a great job once again to organize this one-day retreat. I know it's a hard job, hard work, and both of you are busy with your other activities, but you give priority for this one-day retreat, and therefore, on behalf of all the participants, I would like to pay my gratitude and thanks for both of you. And thank you very much, dear Guptani, for giving your beautiful residence for me, for myself, to do this one-day retreat. I was looking for a place to join for this one-day retreat, and even though Guptani, you are not in Sri Lanka, but all the facilities are here. So thank you very much. And dear Suresh and Sudarshi, they are feeding me since I came here, and since yesterday and today, supplying all the meals and cooking and bringing from far away to here for a couple of times per day. So I feel I'm very lucky and very fortunate. And Nilambe is open now, so all of you are warmly welcome back to Nilambe if you want to experience some amount of suffering once again. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, and have a peaceful day, peaceful evening, and peaceful night. Thank you.